This one's not prayer.
No.
It's at the beginning of
Why
our
isn't it
agenda on
loading?
the council.
Sorry. Why isn't it loading?
So wait. We did this. We're doing this, right? So why is the prayer there?
I don't know.
It was,
It's not in here though.
I guess I don't have to.
it's messed up. See,
What,
the
Christine?
council meeting, it doesn't
It
say
doesn't,
prayer.
I guess I don't have to load it. It does, it's all in one. Okay,
Do you have it?
It's all set, I guess.
I have it.
It was on the
All
public
set.
hearing. It was on.
All right.
Sorry.
But it wasn't here. Meeting call to order. Today is Tuesday, April 24th. It is now 7:15 PM. Town Council meeting of the Sewer Commission, 1170 Main Street, West Warwick, Rhode Island. Just gonna do roll call again.
Roll call, Council President Goslin,
Here?
Council Vice President D'Amico.
Here.
Councilman Padula.
Here.
Councilman Messier.
Here.
Councilman Licciardi.
Here.
We have a quorum on record. Do I have to go through the whole thing again with the participating committees? No. Okay. Minutes of the previous meeting. Resolved that the minutes of the January 16th, 2018 Town Council meeting acting as sewer commission is hereby accepted.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Moving second. Any discussion? Any public discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Reports, plant managers report.
Okay. This is the report for the month of March for the wastewater treatment plant. If you remember correctly, we had a lot of rain in the month of March, and our flows were significantly higher than what they've been. The average daily flow was 9 million gallons a day. We actually peaked out at 15 million gallons a day, and we closely were watching that river rising down there with fears of 2010 coming back. But it's all receded and everything's good now. BOD removal, 97.3%. TSS removal, 96.3%. Total nitrogen, we will begin our seasonal permit on May 1st, so that'll be coming up shortly. Phosphorus removal, we just went into the 0.1 requirement, but prior to that, we were at 1.0, and we were at 0.66, which is well below the limit. Again, dry tons of sludge, 154.2 ton. Collection system, we had 3 backups in private lines and 1 in a public line. Training, we did defensive driving, no odor complaints. We did have 1 fecal coliform violation during the month of March. And then I have several things under the notes of interest for you. On a positive, we received a safety grant from the Rhode Island Trust Insurance Company for confined space equipment, so we will be purchasing that under that grant. And I have this for you. I noticed on the audit that was given to the town council a couple months ago that I had some concerns on the wastewater side of the audit, and I gave it to our auditor that we use, and he's made some corrections, and I'll give each one of you a copy of it.
You want to read them too, Bernie?
Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, this was the Markham presentation to the council, and when I happened to, unfortunately, I didn't see it prior to that, but when I happened to look at this, the first line, you see the operating revenue amounted to 5.6 million, down from the prior year of 7.2 million. And I spoke to Kristen on this, and we asked Bob Savetti, who does our auditing, and that was a misstatement. And if you go to the second page, and it was, I guess, the audit was correct, but in their presentation, in their PowerPoint, it was incorrect. And I just wanted to make sure everybody was aware that that was inaccurate, and it's not the case. And quickly, as you can see, the user assessment fees were not down by 1.6 million in fiscal 17. They were actually up by approximately 900,000. So the auditor on their PowerPoint said we were down 1.6 million where we weren't. And I wanted that to be out in public, so.
So just to clarify, the presentation was wrong, but the actual
Correct.
audit is right.
Correct. But I just, if somebody sees this PowerPoint or
Yeah,
the presentation, they could say, what's going on down there?
yep,
So I just want to bring that to your attention.
thank you.
The third thing is the organizational review that you approved back several months ago. I have the final report here. I have one for each one of you. To save time, I would like to have you take this, review it, read it, and even possibly schedule a workshop if you feel it's necessary. Or if you have any questions and you give me a call, I certainly will.
And when you're talking about this report, this is the report where we had a study come in and do,
Right.
interview all the employees.
Correct. The organizational review and business practice
Very
evaluation
interesting.
report.
Thank you.
And I can have, thank you. I can have the CWL here if you want to do a workshop.
They're already going,
Thank
Bernie.
Yeah, I don't have to find it. So if you want to look that over, give me a call. If you want, Dave, if you want to schedule a workshop, we can certainly do that too. And the last thing I have. I thought I had it with me, but maybe I don't. We have a public records request from a resident of Coventry asking for records back. I'm not sure, and that's what I was hoping to ask Tim tonight.
1983, the intermunicipal.
1983. So one, it's going to cost us a significant amount of money to research this. We can charge them, but it's at $15 an hour,
$15 for the first hour. It's
Which,
10 cents a page.
Mr. Jeremiah does, he won't come for $15 an hour, so.
What's the request?
Is it 83 to the present?
Well, that's what I'm at, how far do we have to go back? Do we have to go back to 83, or?
If you've got them, you gotta produce them.
Okay.
If you have them, there has to be a legitimate reason why you don't have them. You provide him with the estimate of cost and the time, and if he approves it, go forward.
Okay. Is Kristen here? Am I right? So far? To the
Yeah.
public, yeah. So I assume we're gonna need Tim, we're gonna, we'll have to go through this and produce whatever we have.
Now, the question I have is, how much of this information is gonna be within the confines of either the town hall or the sewer plant, or does Mr. Jeremiah have any of
Well, Mr. Jeremiah has been here for 40 years, so,
that? Right.
as he lets us know all the time. So we're gonna have, we are gonna have to rely on him a lot.
All right. The point is, if there's gonna be an estimate of time, we can only charge what the statute allows, so you can't. So if there's gonna be a time element from your end and a time element from your end, Kristen, everyone else, that all has to be combined and provided back to the person making the request.
Okay,
And
so,
then they can submit a check
Yes,
before any work is done. So
Yes.
if there's no check, there's no work done.
Right.
Right.
they have to approve what you're telling them.
okay, so we get back to them, we,
And then
Instead
they
of
say, I
starting
don't
the
want it.
project,
Right.
make sure that you estimate
estimate, okay,
what you think it's gonna be as far as time.
okay,
Estimate what you think it's gonna be as far as money, and then provide that to him in writing. And if he approves, ask him for the check, indicate that it might be more, might be less, but
okay,
that's how you handle it.
good. So we'll handle it, we'll take care of that then. That's my report.
I have two questions for you.
Sure.
One, 103 Providence Street. I've seen an email, I've talked to Hilda, she's been here. Something up with the Royal Mills sewer line.
Yeah, that's all private.
Yes,
So where do we stand with that? Because I definitely want to call it back, but it's a strange situation. I guess there's one sewer line that comes through the back of all those properties that was tied into the Royal Mills. Who's responsible for that? And
that was the question I asked. And I can tell you, I did a little bit of research. Some of Providence Street down that way are all hooked into Providence Street. They brought it out the front, which is what I would recommend. I've been down there, the crew has been down there several times, and I told the lady at 103 Providence Street, that, you know, I certainly, if she had an issue, we would be more than willing to go down there and help her. But from what I understand, it's a private sewer line that belonged to the Royal Mills complex. Unfortunately, you know, she feels otherwise.
Yeah, well, kind of wonder how that happened, where Royal Mills now, how do the houses end up getting all those private lines behind there?
That was all mill houses.
I assume they were all mill houses.
Yeah, I understand that.
And it probably went right to the river.
Right. Without the sewer.
Well, before
And you'll
sewers.
still see some of that.
And, so, right now, I know you've recommended a backflow valve or whatever. for
Correct.
her, But
Oh.
now she sent off a picture with some sinkage going on.
Yeah, and I have that picture, actually.
And some of these people complaining, he already.
What's going on there?
So she's actually.
This is the picture.
103 Yeah, 103 is actually the bottom right before the mills. And all those sewer lines, all those houses are coming right through her backyard to a main line going into Royal Mills. Or is it still tied into the mill itself?
No, it goes back out to Providence Street,
Providence Street.
down towards the bottom.
She's at the bottom, and if there's any problems, she's been flooded twice now. she
So,
said.
so 83, 85, 87, 89 are all connected into Providence Street itself. And then there's 91, 93, 95, 99, 101, 103 that go behind the house. 107, 109, 111, 113, but 113 is gone. I don't know whatever happened to that house, but it's
They
not there.
knocked it down.
They knocked it down. And 115 are all connected to Providence Street. So it's just those few houses that didn't connect to Providence Street. And they're still using that line in the back.
How would you get them off that line? Could
They
they
would-
tie into Providence?
Yes, yes.
All they have to
At,
do
you
is
know,
run
at their
the line
expense.
To the street, yeah.
At their expense, but there's no lateral, is there any laterals there?
I'm
Because
sure there's
That's my
pro-
next question.
I'm sure, I don't know for a fact, but I'm sure there, if there was laterals, I mean, if there wasn't a lateral, they could still tap the line, but
Yeah, but that becomes very expensive, because that's my next question on 111 Sunrise.
if,
That gentleman called me, his house is there, his house has been there since the Cotton, the old Cotton's Drugs own, Mr. Cotton used to own that house. There's no lateral for him, but yet, the empty lots on the side of them that built houses, they had laterals, and now the expense for his sewer line has tripled
because you gotta go out on the road.
he has to go out on the road to get police
Right.
detail and whatever
Right.
else.
It's certainly advantageous if the lateral goes to the property line. And when they put sewers in, that's usually what they do, is they go to the property line.
Yep.
But this sewer line out here in Providence Street is pretty old, so I don't know exactly what was done. Maybe Jim might know.
Can we take a look at that and see if there are laterals going?
Yeah, I can
to the-
I can camera it and see if there's laterals at that property.
Because if they can get off that back line and,
The back line is, it's not to standards. I think it's like a 4-inch line, and that's part of our issue. Our camera that we can send up a line can't get up a small line like that. It's very shallow. The condition of it is probably not very good. So I would urge that the connect to Providence Street, but unfortunately, it's a cost. But as
well,
far,
it's a little less cost per se if there's a lateral there. That's my big
correct,
concern.
correct. But as far as this picture goes, if I don't see the sewer there, I just don't think this is caused from the sewer. Usually if the sewer's leaking, you're not gonna see it up, you know, like this here. If anything, the grass is gonna be growing really good if there's a sewer leak there, because of the nutrients, where this is a dead spot, so. Again, we haven't gone down there and dug anything, and I'd prefer not to, but I will get the camera crew out there and we'll camera the line and see if we can find any laterals.
I think she's here, actually. If you wanna come up,
I wish you would put the camera in and.
just come on up. Just state your name and address for the record.
Hilda Mercedes, 103 Providence Street. I wish they would check the.
Just come on up to the
line.
microphone. Ilda, you just gotta come up to the mic.
Check half of it.
Ilda, you just gotta come up to the microphone. I'm sorry.
Loud enough. Okay, well, you did check half of it, 50 meters or feet of it. The rest you didn't check. Actually, you stopped right in front of my house. I need it to be checked all the way.
When you
The
say
part you checked
behind
was
your
clear.
house- Behind your house or in front of your house?
Behind.
Behind. It's probably because we couldn't get up it any further, because that pipe narrows down.
It doesn't. It's a good pipe. It was clear and open, but you start right in front of my house. You couldn't go any further. Does it go any further? We don't know anything about that line.
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying, I don't have any records on it.
That's it.
So can we try to find out as much as we can in the line, so
Yeah.
at least we can give her some direction on which way to go?
Yeah.
As far as, if there's laterals in the front of the house, and if she can eliminate getting herself off the back with all those, because if I have 4 or 5 houses coming down my sewer line, God only knows what they're sending down. I mean, I watched the main break here in Main Street, and I saw toys, and you name it, going down the pipe. And if that's happening, and she's at the bottom, she's gonna get everything.
Yeah, but you cannot get a lateral that deep. I'm deep.
Yeah, but in the front of the house on Providence Street, if there's a lateral going in, you might be able to take yourself off that back line and put you on a front line.
I'm too deep. The Providence line is not that deep as far as I.
We'd have to do research, but can we get
Yes,
some
yes.
research done there and give us some options?
But just for the record, I mean, the line behind the house is no different than a line that's out in the street. The sewer from the houses up the road come down that same sewer line, so. But yeah, we'll camera Providence Street and we'll see what we can find out and we'll get back to you.
I have a question.
Jim?
Is this, the property in question, is this the last house on the line?
I think it is the last house.
So if all the other houses tied in, she could actually use the lateral that comes back onto Providence Street, correct, Bernie?
That's what we are using right now.
But it'll be only her line, as opposed to everybody else being involved.
I'm not sure it's the last house though.
Okay. But we'll look into
The
that.
numbers down below are tied into Providence Street.
Okay. So we'll have to do some research, and if we can get back to her, I know it's been about a month and a half now, so I know she came, last sewer commission meeting. I told her, I know I talked to Harrison for a few minutes on the phone, he directed me to you, and, I know the emails were going back and forth, so we're just going back. Now, the same thing for 111 Sunrise. I guess Harrison said there's no lateral there, but he doesn't think anybody's ever gone out there and looked. So if we can just make sure we camera that, and
So
make
how
sure
would he-
there's no lateral?
How would he know?
Harrison said there's no lateral there.
How would he know?
We don't know. Somebody marked the road as lateral at one time. The resident actually said they marked it. And then when he got 2 sewer companies to come in to give him a price, he said he went down the sewer department and they said there was no lateral. Now, whether or not they went up there and did something, I don't know. But the price from $2,500 to now $10,000-$11,000 is a big difference whether or not they tie in.
111, you said?
111 Sunrise, yes.
Get on in the morning.
Thank you.
Oh, tomorrow's gonna be a rainy day. It might not be.
Hey, we bought rain gear.
Put one of the tents up.
We bought rain gear, Bernie.
Thank you, Bernie. Any questions for Bernie?
I had a quick question, Bernie.
Sure.
You kind of sparked this question. We were talking about the high max daily flow numbers in March. So you said you were watching the water. Now, back in 2010, when we had the flooding, my understanding is the plant was underwater.
Correct.
So, yeah, by like 10 feet. So everything was flooded. So when they restored the plant, was anything put in place, any kind of precautionary system that would avoid future
Things are going
flooding?
higher.
Went to
Did
11
we
feet.
put in like really big French drains?
Actually, we're working with EPA, FEMA on that whole plan right now, and it's cost us how much, Jim? In fact, you people approved
The original, we looked at evaluating putting a confinement or an impoundment area over there. Because the treatment plant is in a floodplain. So if we look at it this way,
And does it sit low?
we're low.
Right.
Okay, so we're in the floodplain area, so normally what happens is as the river rises, the displacement of the water goes into the area of the treatment plant. If we were to impound that area, we would then cause downstream and upstream
Yeah, we're
flooding
not having
of
that.
all the neighborhood, because we would then take that flood zone we would be taking that out. So we evaluated that, and the cost for the containment, the stormwater pumps, were running close to $13.5 to $14 million. Not cost effective to do that, because the replacement cost for the treatment plant was in the order of 11 to $12 million. We then looked at individual components. But unfortunately, we have all metal buildings, so it's very difficult to make any of those buildings watertight, as, you know, because it'll leak through there. But during the floods or the rain events that were starting to build up, what we are doing at the treatment plant is we record and follow the gauges on the Patuxent River. And as they go up, and we then have a protocol in place to move equipment out of there. What happened before was it caught everybody by surprise. It was a combination of quite a few things that just came together at the right time. We had 3 rain events in February and into March that had totaled over 30 inches of rain in less than 3 weeks. On top of that, the Scituate Reservoir was at its peak and decided to release at the same time we were being inundated. And finally, the high tides. So all of that came together at a perfect storm, and that's what caused
the
it.
hurricane barriers.
So everything just kind of added up.
Situate unloaded.
Yeah, they did. They actually did, that's mine.
All of them did.
And so what we tend to do now is to monitor that, and we have precautions in place. Bernie was on the phone, I was on the phone with the plant, and we continue to monitor that. It's a nice thing that DM puts a link to it, so we get daily, hourly
nice of that.
updates on the river level. So we were prepared for doing quite a few.
They ought to do that to Situate so they know not to let it out.
Situate is doing things a lot different than they were back 7 years ago, now 8 years ago, because they're starting to release a little bit sooner, so that they can build up that reservoir. They were at the peak, they couldn't hold any more back, so that just caused a problem.
All right, any
Thank
other
you.
questions for
Appreciate
Bernie? Thank you, Bernie. All right.
Industrial pretreatment program report.
Good evening. The industrial pretreatment for the month of March. The Rose Technology submitted their self-monitoring report. All of the limits were found to be in compliance. Amtrol reported an exceedance on their oil and grease limits, and we're expecting their monthly report to be submitted in April. We've also performed our annual inspection and found everything to be in compliance at Amtrol. With regards to the private wastewater treatment facilities, the Quaker Valley Mall submitted the O&M manual. The O&M manual was not complete, and we issued a letter of deficiency. The Showcase Cinema, they do it twice a year, cleaning their lines, and unfortunately, the weather conditions during the month of March prohibited us to have that cleaned, so they'll be cleaning it shortly. Food Services Industries, 721 Quaker Lane in West Warwick, we issued them a new permit. The facility had purchased an automatic grease trap. However, at the time of our inspection, it wasn't installed. The Indigo's Pizza in Coventry was closed. They will be reopening as the Bean Barn, Inc., and we will be issuing them a new permit. Sweet Novembers was issued their new permit for the year, and as well as the Subway, which is the new tenant along the subway, Sunoco subway facilities. Plan reviews were conducted at Two Guys Auto Repairs, events planning on Bridle Street in West Warwick, J&J's Cafe in West Warwick, and Keys Way Commercial Condo, which was in the Keys Way off of the West Warwick Industrial Park. All of those plans were reviewed, and the permission was granted, approval was granted. Finally, the program met with Marathon Bread. They're a company that is looking to open their production facilities at the shopping plaza located at 1026 Tyoke Avenue in Coventry. The facility has been in disrepair and at foreclosure So they have a pump station which is 25 years old. For the new station, for the new tenants to occupy that and use that, we're asking them to provide us with an O&M manual for the pump station and to do some repairs. At this time, we're waiting for their report. That's all I have for industrial pretreatment.
Any questions for Jim? Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Financial update, year-to-date operating and debt expenses for fiscal year 2018 as of March 31st total $5,693,655, which is 66% of the annual budget. Cash and investments through March 31st total $3,167,521. Fiscal year 2018 sewer usage collections through March 31st totaled $5,515,929, which is 80% of the total bill. Fiscal year 2018 sewer assessment collections through March 31st totaled $471,569 dollars, which is 105% of the total bills. We also have, just so the sewer commission knows, chemical bid was advertised April 18th and will be opened on May 2nd. And then you'll see on the agenda, we're going to do 2 extensions, one for methanol and one for sewer excavating.
Thank you. Any questions for Christine? Thank you, Christine.
Resolutions. Bid award for methanol contracts extension contract number 2017-18. Resolved per recommendation of Superintendent of Sewer Subcommittee for the West Warwick Wastewater Treatment Facility that the Town Council President be authorized to approve a 1-year contract extension for methanol to the Univar USA Inc. of Morrisville, Pennsylvania, in the amount of $1.55 per gallon.
I'll move the resolution.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion? Ernie? What do you use methanol for?
That's for the nitrogen removal.
Trying to grow his hair.
That's, and that's our seasonal permit that starts here May 1st, so. But again, when we bid chemicals, we always bid it for 1 year with an extension. Second year, if both parties agree, they were the only ones that agreed, so we went out to bid for the other ones.
All right, thank you. Any questions for Bernie? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Bid award for sewer excavating services contract extension, contract number 2017-11. Resolved per recommendation of the superintendent and the sewer subcommittee for the West Warwick Wastewater Treatment Facility that the Town Council President be authorized to approve a 1-year.
Christine, I'm recusing myself from this matter, so it would be the vice president signing.
A 1-year contract extension for sewer excavating services, contract number 2017-11 to Rick Nunes Construction of Polk, Rhode Island.
I'll move the resolution.
I'll second.
Bernie?
This is just an extension to his contract. We started this a couple of years ago by going out to bid for excavation services, emergency services, and it's worked out really well. So if we have an issue, we pick up the phone, we know what the rate is, and he has to be out there within 24 hours. So he's done a very good job, and I highly recommend that we renew it.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed.
All opposed? Hearing none? Passes.
James Jeremiah Construction Administrative Services for the Hilltop. Amendment number 4 to contract number 2015-09 for the improvements to the Hilltop Pump Station. Resolved per recommendation of the engineer and the superintendent of sewers that the town manager be authorized to approve amendment number 4, contract number 2015-09 to provide construction administrative services for the Hilltop Pump Station in the amount not to exceed $29,035.
I'll move the resolution.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
What this is, we're doing the Hilltop. We approved that a few months ago. All the equipment's been ordered. construction's about ready to begin, so this is just construction management to make sure it's all done correctly. And that we're gonna have all new pumps, new generator. It's really a complete overhaul of the pump station.
Bernie, did you ever get paid for the damage that was done to that?
No, we did not. He's been billed, and I'm sure it's over 30 days.
And I know a few
Just-
neighboring communities, with myself included, are having a lot of problems too.
Just so you know what he's talking about is, they did the construction, or they've been doing some construction on that site. I'm sure if you go up Wakefield Ave,
Condos near my house.
you can see the construction site. They put some sewer lines in. Unfortunately, they left one of the manholes open, the top base off.
What was that, January
And it was,
13th?
yeah, something like early. It was during one of those heavy storms that were
The
heavy rainstorms.
downpour.
And what happened was the mud from that side came into the manhole, flooded out the Hilltop Pump Station. My guys were there all weekend
Rocks.
cleaning pumps continuously to keep it working. We brought our standby pump up there. We actually had to replace one of the impellers, which I didn't want to do because I knew we were getting new pumps, but to keep it running. So I billed them, and we had Inland Waters come in and clean the lines, and I billed them for all that work.
Doesn't he have a bond?
That's what they gotta go on, the insurance company. He told the insurance company it wasn't his fault. There's a lot of,
But he has a bond with us, doesn't he, when he pulls those permits?
Yeah,
They have
Yeah.
to have that.
Does he
contract.
have-
For the state though.
yeah, you don't have a bond with the town.
Because we used to have the drain layers license, and the state took all that away, so now everything has gone through, if you get a
Yeah, but again,
I-
maybe I'm.
road, you have a bond, I
Roads,
know that.
So he's not putting a town
No.
road in, all right. That's my fault.
So,
So we have no.
well, yeah, we do.
Condos going in, we have no way to protect neighbors, and I know there's somebody in the back gonna be very, concerned with this one also. We have no bond whatsoever in a town that protects neighbors in situations as he has and as Mr. Tivy has in the
And
back.
Dave, what makes it worse, when the subcontractor tells his insurance company it's not his fault. Now
yeah.
he opened himself up to his own lawsuit.
Okay.
No, but I believe we have to go through the state.
Correct, for connection.
But with his permit that he got to put in that sewer line, he had to give you some kind of insurance certificate.
Again, it goes through the state for a drain layer license. We used to charge them every year for a drain layers license. We can't do that anymore either.
Well, we gotta recoup that money, there's no doubt about it.
Well, I mean, our only recourse is to shut them down,
Please, he shut down enough.
so.
The only
Or
project that I've seen go
or
off
not
the
allow them to
air
do any
is not
more,
even a
not allow them to do any more work in town at any other residences either.
Well, there's other things going on with zoning and planning, so I would touch base with Mark Carullo on that.
Okay. Okay,
Because he's in contact with his attorney, Bernie.
okay.
All right, any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Consent agenda. Resolved that the consent agenda having been posted, all matters having been referred to proper departments and being disposed of or awaiting recommendations, the same is hereby approved.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Public comment on the sewer department?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. 5-minute recess, so we can get the clerk in here to do a swap on.
It's gonna be stopped over there. Well, we got Aldi Fury.